Hello and welcome back to the Doctor's Garage. So in this video today, I'm going to be talking about one of the biggest talked about things to do with owning a Defender, which is underbody rust. What is the chassis protection that you can use, what's best, and how long does it last? Well, I used Lanagard here on the channel. You may have seen the video about 5 months ago now, and I sprayed the whole of my Land Rover Defender 90 on my driveway. And in this video, I'm going to review to see what it looks like now, how long it's lasted, and also would I do it again compared to the other alternatives that are available on the market. So if you own a Defender, you will know there's loads of options. There's Dinitrol, there's wax oil, and there's Lanagard, which is a relatively new product in the Land Rover Defender market. Now for me, I did my research and I found Lanagard to be the one that I chose to buy in the end because it was well priced and also looked really easy to apply on your driveway with simply a spray bottle. I didn't want to have to go to the lengths of painting all the individual parts in the chassis, leaving it to dry for weeks. I understand you have to do with some of those other products, and I wanted to do something myself on my own drive rather than get it done professionally. Now I ended up buying one of the kits from Lanagard, and what I bought you can see in the description below this video in case you want to buy the same stuff. It came with all the things I needed, including a long hose. I could poke it into all parts of the chassis and spray Lanagard in kind of a 360 way just to cover everything inside as well, which I actually did in the last video when I put my bumper on my Defender too. So that was one of the biggest selling points for me with Lanagard, was easy application and a good price really, and really good reviews. So when I bought my kit, what did I get in my Lanagard kit? Well, I'll just show you. So you get some motor grease, which is kind of a really concentrated version of Lanagard. It's like an oil grease type stuff you can paint into all the chassis areas. So on extremely rusty areas such as a rear cross member, I coated it with motor grease, which seemed to have held up quite well. You get a sprayer bottle too that you can fill up with Lanagard, and then you also get the main product, which is motor spray, which is this one right here. Motor spray itself for me was the best product because it was one that I could literally cover everything with. You can cover plastics, you can cover rubbers, you can literally cover everything. And I haven't got it now, but the actual hose piece with the sprayer on that you can then put the sort of 360 wand on was a really good piece. So you literally clipped it together, sprayed the whole chassis, and I actually did it laid under the vehicle, which in hindsight I probably wouldn't. I'd probably try and raise it up a little bit before doing that because I kind of got covered in motor spray too. So why is the reason I wouldn't lay under it again? Well, after covering myself and my car in motor spray and Lanagard, I did some research as to what it actually is, because it has quite an unusual smell to it. It's almost, it's very hard to describe actually. It almost smells like what it is, which is sheep oil, or the oil out of the wool of sheep. When you think about it, that's a super water repellent material that sheep have on their wool lining. And as a result, putting on the underneath of your car means water is just repelled off. Now when I spray my chassis, it literally just beads straight off, so it's definitely still working. So the other benefit as well, if you're looking from an eco point of view, is actually it's a natural product you're applying to your car, and it works phenomenally well. But it does make you smell a little bit funny and doesn't come off stuff for a long time, so make sure you wear gloves, probably overalls, and probably even a mask if you are going to lay under your car, otherwise you will smell like a sheep. I would just like to add to this video as well, I am not sponsored in any way or getting paid for anything from Lanagard. I don't even know the guys that own Lanagard. I've literally done my own research, put this on my car, and I'm really impressed actually. I'm going to show you now what the underneath of my car looks like after 5 months since an application. So I'm laying under the car at the moment, and what I'm doing is working my way along the chassis, going into all these holes. And if you go right up towards the top as well at the front, you can see there's holes right away along, and that's where I'm putting the little wand into. I'm just flushing it through, and you can see it's dripping out of those holes now. Same on this side too, so going in all those holes right up to the front. So we'll start by having a look under here. So I sprayed the main chassis rails, and before these were a kind of rusty surface rust sort of brown, and you can see there's a little bit up there still where that Fox shock has been fitted. Probably didn't get around there when I was first doing it because I did it with my old equipment on, the old shocks and springs, but overall the chassis itself has been coated quite nicely. Underneath there you can see a bit of grease I've put on there, right in the middle as well. I've coated it all naturally. It looks really good. The thing that doesn't look so good is that exhaust system, which does need to come out. I'm gonna get under a car a bit more. Laid under here properly, there's probably loads of people saying stuff needs to be changed, but you can see the covering, it's quite black under here, which it wasn't before. It was covered in surface rust. So really happy with the coating. It's still a little bit greasy, but it's dried quite nicely on my car. You can see the exhaust system itself is pretty knackered. Maybe it's time for a new exhaust. Look, it's been dinted here at some point in its life, and the whole thing just looks a bit eroded. I think it's definitely time for a decat, a live or demand exhaust system by the looks of this. So that's that. And then under here, you can see there is a bit of surface rust here, That was on there before. It's still sticky actually, which feels pretty disgusting, but it hasn't got any worse. It's kind of stabilized it all, and overall when I look under the car itself, I'm quite pleased with how that looks. Bit of an oil leak there of some sort. Someone, I'm sure, will tell me what that is, and whether I need to do anything about it, I'm not sure. But yeah, overall, underneath this car looks so much better than it did previously compared to when I didn't have anything on it. So quite impressed with how well that Lanagard has worked. Under my very nice new bumper from RE and steering guard, you can see under here as well, it all looks pretty good. It's particularly compared to what it looked like before. There's my new springs. All under here, not really that rusty. It's kind of got a surface rust look to it, but it certainly hasn't eroded and degraded anymore to what it was. And then let's take a look under this side, and you'll see the same again. I'm quite happy with how good that looks. And finally, let's look in the rear cross member through here. So in here, this is where I've covered it with that grease all on the inside, and it definitely hasn't got any worse. It's very sticky and kind of got bits stuck to it, but actually not delaminating it or anything like that at the moment. So feel like that's worked quite well. There again, you can see I brushed some of that motor grease on and kind of coated all through here. So after 5 months, this product has lasted quite well. So if I was to do this again, what would I do differently? Well, I'd probably get my car raised up a little bit more. So I'd probably use my jack, lift it up a little bit more, and then be able to get right under and spray with this product. So I think that's probably the only difference I would make. I would definitely buy it again. I've actually bought a refill of Lanagard for the end of this year before we go back into winter, just to recover it again, because to be honest, I don't think there's anything that's as good price, that does as good coverage and just looks after your Defender. And yes, it's a bit of DIY to do it, but actually overall a very small price to pay compared to a galvanised chassis. Now I'd also like to know on this channel, what would you like to see next on my Defender, or anything to do with the car world, or particularly on my channel, I guess, the Land Rover world. Let me know in the comments below what you want to see next, and I'll make a video all about it. See you guys in the next video.